Until the inauguration. I'm Skyler Henry on Capitol Hill, where more than 20,000 troops will be deployed. They too will be vetted.
The National Rifle Association files for bankruptcy protection. And Americans are warming up to a new dessert that comes in a cup.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Last-minute inauguration preparations are underway, along with background investigations into the more than 20,000 National Guard soldiers who are working security for Wednesday's event. This is KOAM News at noon. I'm Tanya Bach. Topping our first 7 minutes, tensions remain high on Capitol Hill in the wake of the January 6th assault on the Capitol and the threat of more violence during Wednesday's presidential inauguration. Skyler Henry has more details from Capitol Hill.
A nearby fire sent the U.S. Capitol into lockdown Monday morning, with people being warned to stay away from windows and doors. The Secret Service later clarified the lockdown was ordered out of an abundance of caution and that there is no threat to the public. With just 2 days to go until the inauguration, officials are working to shore up security in the nation's capital. That includes background checks on the more than 20,000 National Guard troops, with leaders on alert for potential insider threats. But Daniel Hokanson, the chief of the National Guard Bureau, told CBS News' David Martin he does not share those concerns.
Are you worried at all about the reliability of your National Guard troops?
Absolutely not.
Have you been screening some of the troops as they come in?
Yes, sir. In coordination with the Secret Service and the FBI, they're screening all the personnel that are coming in.
Nearly a dozen ex-military members have been arrested in connection with the January 6th assault on the U.S. Capitol.
We must police our own. We must look. We can't allow people wearing in uniform wearing QAnon patches and just let that go as their particular political beliefs.
A law enforcement official confirms to CBS News authorities are bringing charges against people associated with radical militia groups known as the Oath Keepers and the 3 Percenters. Both are known to recruit among the military and law enforcement.
Years after 9/11, we were focused on foreign-based violent extremism, foreign-based terrorism. Now the principal threat comes from within.
A new CBS News poll shows a majority of those surveyed say the biggest threat to America's way of life comes from other people in America. Skyler Henry, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
And elect Joe Biden spent his Martin Luther King Jr. holiday doing community service in Philadelphia. Meanwhile, Vice President-elect Kamala Harris is resigning her Senate seat today, paving the way for her to take her oath of office as Vice President on Wednesday. Well, it's cold outside, but it could be much worse. Michael Islip joins us with the first look at the forecast.
You know, Tanya, especially when we look at what's going on in central Missouri right now, just outside of our highlighted counties. They've even had some snow this morning. It's turned into rain. For us, really, it's just kind of been an overcast day. But what I'll do is I'll remove the cloud cover here, and look at that mess that they got up to the northeast of us. So really, like you said, we have been very lucky. We've seen a few raindrops every now and then. Certainly hasn't been too bad. As we take a live look from the Freeman Health System sky camera in Joplin, with that kind of dark cloud cover, 50 degrees though, not too bad, but that wind still coming in at 16 miles an hour. Now, by the time we get to the mid-afternoon, we're talking about 53, 54 degrees, which is actually a big jump from where we'd normally be this time of year. But on the backside of the cloud cover, guess what we got coming in? A little bit of a cold front. We'll break down our chance for light snow tomorrow in the far north. Not going to be widespread. But then look at this. We're right back into the 50s by the middle of the week before another cold front hits this weekend. Now, coming up here in just a little bit, why don't we break down what's going on with a big low pressure system? Oh, why does this sound reminiscent? Pacific Northwest. See what role that plays by the time we get to next week.
That's right. Got a lot to talk about coming up. Thanks, Michael. Well, the National Rifle Association files for bankruptcy protection. The gun rights advocacy group says it plans to leave New York State, where it was founded in 1871, and reincorporate as a nonprofit in Texas. The announcement follows leadership shakeups and allegations of financial mismanagement at the NRA in recent years. What could be a dream job for hot dog lovers, Kraft Heinz is hiring a new team of drivers to take the Wienermobile across the U.S. for a year. The ideal hot dogger is an outgoing, creative college graduate ready to take part in more than 200 events and appear for local interviews. Of course, an appetite for adventure is a standout trait as well. COVID is causing trouble for tennis players ahead of next month's Australian Open. At least 72 competitors are in lockdown in hotel rooms, forced to get creative to stay on top of their game. CBS's Ian Lee has their story.
From walls and mattresses as hitting partners to bitter posts on social media.
I don't think I can swing my racket in this room.
Dozens of the world's best tennis stars are being forced to improvise after landing in Australia and straight into quarantine.
Everything that I did in the off season, which I had 6 very good weeks of training, it's not completely ruined, but we're all going to be a little bit rusty.
Organizers made the call after passengers on 3 flights tested positive for COVID-19.
And obviously our first objective is that everyone remains as healthy as possible and is not the cause of further spread within the bubble.
Officials say there's no special treatment even for the biggest names in the game, like Novak Djokovic, Rafael Nadal, and Serena Williams.
Go!
Everyone will get a chance to serve, not just against the bed, when the Australian Open gets underway next month after being delayed for weeks because of the virus. Ian Lee, CBS News, London.
Australia has been successful in managing the pandemic with less than 30,000 cases and just over 900 deaths. That's a look at today's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Up next on KOAM News at noon.
Everyone's talking about. I'm Nancy Chen with how hot chocolate bombs are taking over social media and mugs around the country.
Later, we're making a Parmesan onion board in the Mr. Food Test kitchen. Americans are warming up to a new dessert that comes in a cup. Nancy Chen tells us how the sweet treat is creating a buzz this winter.
The latest food trend is exploding all over social media. They're called hot chocolate bombs, a chocolate sphere filled with hot cocoa mix and add-ins like marshmallows, which is then dissolved in hot milk to create a creamy cocoa.
It's just a ball of chocolate that somehow brings joy to all of us during this time.
So it's chocolate on chocolate.
Yes.
Brittany DeMoore is a Georgia mother of 2 and has been making the desserts with her daughter at home.
That it appeals to all different age levels. My daughter's 6 and she loved it. It was a neat little surprise. And then all the way up to like my grandmother.
DeMoore created the treats as gifts during the holidays, a popular idea. The hashtag Hot Chocolate Bombs has about 240 million views on TikTok and about 140,000 mentions on Instagram.
They take about 30 seconds to dissolve. And as people spend more time at home this winter, the innovative desserts provide a welcome distraction.
People can make them at home with molds, but many bakeries offer them as well, and shops are selling out. They're so popular, one business in Connecticut hired more people just to keep up with demand.
It's a real fun activity to see once you pour the milk onto the chocolate bomb to see how it explodes, but they're also absolutely delicious.
A hot treat for these cold winter months. Nancy Chen, CBS News, New York.
Still to come on the KOAM News at noon, Mr. Food.
Whether you're a dunker or dipper, you'll love what we're whipping up today. It's a homemade onion board that tastes like it just came from a bakery.
But first, Michael Hayslip returns with your complete forecast.
I want to thank you all for joining us on this Martin Luther King Jr. holiday. And a couple things I want to point out here. And we'll get to the weather. Let's put it this way. It's going to be mid-50s, partly cloudy. You'll be fine. What I do want to do is point out that Martin Luther King Jr. was very important about community. It was about community, no matter what race you were. We're fortunate enough on our noon crew and our morning crew to have an African American by the name of Franz Wallace. And getting to know him, getting to talk to his family, interact with them, it's taught me a lot. And Franz is back in master control. He's actually running the commercial breaks for this show right now. You may not have known that. You're not going to get a chance to see him. But it's one of those things where I think about, this is a day about community. And I thank friends for everything that he's taught me. I think his family for everything that they've talked to me about. And I encourage everybody on this day, talk to your kids, talk to your community. Try to come together as one. It's not a nation divided. It doesn't have to be that way. Really, if you'll just take time to sit down and talk to the dude, talk to the woman next to you, it's amazing what you'll find out about their lives, what they've gone through, what they feel on a day-to-day basis. And so on this January 18th, this third Monday of January, this Martin Luther King Jr. holiday, that's what I really want everybody to do. And to the Wallace family out there who, I don't know, they may be watching, they may not be. I thank you. And friends, I thank you. And not only that, everybody in the control room, thank you guys as well. You guys do a marvelous job. I don't tell you that enough. Maybe it's a day just where we thank everybody. Charlesy, you're wonderful. Tanya, you're wonderful. Maybe this is a day where we just kind of embrace and we say, hey, thank somebody. All right? I know it's a holiday. Thank your coworkers. Tell them how much you love them. Tell them how much you appreciate them. How about that? All right, now, Hayslip will do a little weather. How about that? Temperatures ranging anywhere from the low 40s up into the low 50s, so it's not a wide variety, but with our cloud cover, we've been able to get rid of our morning precipitation. We just had a couple of raindrops, but really it's going to be the majority of central Missouri up to the Ozarks that's going to get what's coming down out of here. And I want to explain this with the jet stream right here. As this sweeps through, you're going to see from the sweeping radar, that's where it's actually able to hit the ground. A lot of what we picked up earlier this morning was not able to hit the ground, and the reason being, this wind that we have coming out of the south, it warmed us up too much. We're talking about wind gusts of 30 to 35 miles per hour. And so with that warmer air and the jet stream just coming out everywhere, you had the dry air coming here, but yet you still have a little Gulf moisture picking up right there. And that's why the radar was showing, hey, it looks like it's coming down, but it was merely a raindrop or two. We did have a little bit of snow, no accumulation, and really we're not going to have any travel concerns because we're able to make it up into the low to mid 50s here later on this afternoon, even with that cloud cover. Now, as we push into the nighttime hours, we are going to drop below freezing once again. I don't think we're going to have any trouble though with our elevated areas because it's just not going to last. And so we're going to stay dry here for the next couple of days. It's going to be absolutely delightful. Even though those temperatures look chilly, we've just been spoiled this January. Tanya, that 44 that we see there tomorrow, that's perfectly seasonable for this time of year. And then we're right back into the 50s for Wednesday and Thursday. Now, what we'll pay attention to next, everybody else enjoy this week. Skywatch Weather Center, Doug, Nick, and myself, we're going to pay attention to Friday. See what that mix brings for us on Friday into the weekend. But for the most part, it is a delightful middle of January.
It is. Can't complain about that. Not too bad. All right, thanks, Michael. And by the way, we're thankful for you too.
Thank you.
Can't forget that. We take this time to honor today's four-state hero, Private First Class Harold Bateman in the U.S. Army. The soldier hails from Iola, Kansas. He joined the military in 1945, earning the Philippine Liberation Medal with 1 Bronze Star and also the Asiatic Pacific Service Medal. To Private Harold Bateman, we thank you, our four-state hero. Today's recipe will be the perfect addition to your favorite soups. It goes with just about anything. Howard shows us how to make a Parmesan onion board in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
You know, this is the time of year when we find ourselves craving soups and stews, since they tend to warm us up from the inside out. And if you're like me, then no bowl of soup, chili, or stew is complete unless there's something to dunk in it. So let me share with you an old world style onion board that's good for dipping, dunking, or wiping the bowl clean. We start by browning a large onion in some butter until it's golden. While that finishes up, we roll out a loaf of frozen bread dough that we've thawed and place it on a rim baking sheet. Once it fits perfectly, we brush it with a beaten egg and spread the sauteed onions over it. This looks amazing. Now, we sprinkle on some poppy seeds and a bit of Parmesan cheese, and into the oven it goes. There you have it, a perfect fresh from the oven solution to dip or dunk into all your comforting favorites. To be honest, it's so good, I could eat half of this before it ever gets to the table. To get the recipe for our Parmesan onion board, all you have to do is check out our website. I'm Howard of the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a freshly baked way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
Give me one of those corner pieces for sure. You can find this recipe along with a lot more good food from the Mr. Food Test Kitchen online. Just go to our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. Here's a look at our 4-state market prices.
Even with the partly cloudy skies, mid-50s today. Cold front moves in after the cloud cover, drops us down to the 40s on Tuesday. Now remember, quick rebound. We got 50s as we ride into the middle of the week. Now, let's run over to Dow with a look at what's coming up tonight at 5.
Yeah, at 5, team-served hospitals across our country are at a breaking point. Now the American Red Cross says one treatment that could help the sickest patients is in short supply, convalescent plasma. So look at the need in Health Watch. Plus, Live Well Crawford County partners with 21 businesses to offer curbside and delivery options for groceries. And even though today is the beginning of Missouri's next phase of vaccine distribution, some area health providers do not have vaccines to begin the process. We'll explain. If you'll join us, those stories, a lot more. KOAM News at 5.
Thank you, Dow. Thanks for joining us for KOAM News at noon. We'll see you right back here at 5 o'clock.